What's going on, fight fans? Thank you guys for tuning in to another edition of the main event right here on Franchise Sports Media. I'm Kalani Lua.
I'm Griff and Kamp.
We are at it again, Griff. The Big Apple, the big city, Times Square.
Let's go.
The most famous arena in the world, so they say. Madison Square Garden, MSG.
Let's go.
UFC 281, it is here.
It's finally here.
2 title fights on the card. The return of the middleweight king himself, Israel Adesanya. Taking on Alex Pereira. We also got Carla Esparza putting her women's strawweight title on the line against former champion Wayne J. Lee.
What'd you say?
Christmas came early.
Ooh, it's early. It's about a month early, baby. We
The
really for a treat.
people's fight right here. Dustin Poirier, Michael Chandler. Let's go!
Let's go. Come on, baby.
But before we get to that, we do have to talk about the main event.
We do.
The title fight. The rematch.
Yes.
Izzy and Pereira. Middleweights.
Yep.
New Zealand / Nigeria. Brazil in MSG. Griff, take it away.
Lots go into this fight right here. I mean, we have one of the greatest fighters currently fighting on the UFC roster, putting his belt, putting his legacy on the line against a man who didn't beat him in the octagon.
No.
He beat him twice in some far off land, in some far off company, in a far off time. We weren't even aware these two men existed when these fights were going down.
No, we were not. But trust me, brother, they were known in their respective worlds, in the world of kickboxing and Muay Thai, when they did fight. Go ahead.
I gotta say right now, the biggest thing that comes off to me of this fight, when this fight this week, all I could think about was the criticism that Adesanya has been receiving lately. He's been considered a safe fighter. He's been considered a fighter who just wants to hold on to his belt, get into the octagon, defend his title, dance around, avoid hits, be safe, just so he can hold on to the title a bit longer.
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell you right now.
Okay.
Do you realize when he started out in the UFC, Izzy Adesanya in 2018, he fought 4 times that year.
4 times.
4 times.
That's a lot.
That is a lot. Then in 2019, he fought 3 times in which he secured the middleweight title. And those fights included 2 fights against Kevin Gastelum and Bobby Knuckles.
Robert Whittaker,
Bobby Knuckles, all right? 3 fights in 2019, 2 fights in 2020 and 2021, and now in 2022, this fight, his 3rd title defense of 2022. 3 fights. The man doesn't play it safe. The man goes in every single fight already knowing who he's going to call out next, because he already knows, I'm winning this fight and I'm going to keep this train going. He fights for legacy. He fights for greatness. And that's why he has no problem with fighting against a guy who got his number in a completely different sport. The guy has fought 3 times in the UFC. He has 6 wins total in his MMA career. But Izzy, it doesn't matter to him. He says, that's fine. That's a challenge. Not only is that a challenge, that's something people have on my record that they can disrespect. I welcome him into the octagon, and he's ready for Saturday night.
Very much so. As far as Izzy being a safe fighter, we look at the fights against Joe Romero, Jared Cannonier, where it wasn't a lot of action going forward. And here would be my kickback for Izzy and fighters who get the safe label. We do understand that it's not just going out there playing rock'em sock'em robots. You can't just go out there and just throw caution to the wind. We get that.
Yeah.
Some fighters do, like Justin Gaethje, Michael Chandler, right? Some played a little bit more safe, and then there's many in between. I think the biggest problem with that style of fighting, counter-striking like Izzy does, when it looks like you are clearly able to beat your opponent, don't you kind of want to go for a home run hit? Don't you kind of want to do a slam dunk? I mean, every now and then, don't you want to throw the deep ball? I mean, do you want to keep handing it off to the fullback up the middle, throwing a quick slant? Yeah, that's going to get you down the field. But, buddy, at some point, you got to get in the end zone. And granted, he's fought a lot since coming to the UFC. He has not taken a break.
No.
But if you notice, the criticism only comes in those particular fights because he more so stands there. The Anderson Silva fight, but I think in all retrospect, in being respectful towards one of somebody he looked up to that got him into the sport, I feel that he said, hey, Anderson is still tough, but I'm also not going to try to go in here and demolish him.
Right.
But Izzy's got to say, hey, at some point, not just Izzy, but fighters like this, if I'm clearly this much better than my opponent as the fight goes on, at some point I got to try to go for it. Maybe not an entire way, but you got to take a round, half a round, something to kind of go for it. That's why those last 10 seconds when fighters decide to stay toe to toe and go at it, the fans get into it like, hey, do that 30 more seconds of the fight. We understand you can't do it the full 5 minutes of a round. 2 minutes? A minute? Too much to ask for, Griff?
I mean, we saw that when he fought Kevin Gastelum. That was 5 rounds. That was a decision.
That was a war.
People, when they hear that fight or they remember that fight, some actually remember it as Izzy knocked him out or Izzy did something. It was a crazy finish.
He knocked him down for sure. And it looked like he got the finish, but
No, but it was a war. It was a war. That was beautiful. That was that's one of my top favorite fights ever in the UFC. Yeah. And the fact is, a lot of this criticism came after his fight with Yoel Romero. Because granted, that was probably one of the worst fights in the UFC. I mean,
the build-up for that was incredible, though. I mean, the Yoel Romero with his passionate speech, "When you believe," and then Izzy Adesanya. It was one of those where I just feel the hype behind it was so much that any result other than a Forrest Griffin, Stephan Bonner won from Ultimate Fighter Season 1, it would have ended like, it didn't live up to the hype. And I think that was the biggest mistake for that. It just had so much hype behind it, hard to live up to.
It was, but at the same time, that's where a lot of people started talking about Izzy in this way. They saw the fight with Yoel Romero. I mean, Izzy Adesanya and Yoel Romero, both exciting fighters at middleweight. Very much so. Both great fighters at middleweight. But
they're both counter-strikers.
They're both counter-strikers, and it was a lot of standing there, and it looked like people were saying it looked like somebody was playing the UFC video game and trying to figure out the buttons.
Hey, hold on, man. Hold on. What does square do?
What does block do?
What does L2 triangle do? Yeah.
Why is my guy kicking? I'm not trying to kick.
Hold on, man. How do I go for a takedown?
It's cheating.
Nah, it's so true, but at the same time, when you go that particular route, and again, in the Jared Cannonier one, he has one of the... Izzy always comes with the best entrances. I can't wait to see what he does for this one.
It's gonna be good.
But he comes out with the Undertaker theme, the hat, the urn, the bells, the purple light, the smoke. He even raises his hands as the lights come on. Vince McMahon, Stephanie McMahon, and Triple H were in attendance cage side. And then you put on performance like you do, where you jab and leg kick him the whole time. And again, Izzy will step out there, I'm setting traps and I'm doing this and I'm 2, 3, 4 moves ahead. And we understand that. But in some of your traps, there's a reason on the other side of that cheese, there's a silver trap.
Right.
That slams the mouse into it and catches you. You got to be able to deliver at some point in time and catch your opponent. Even if you don't, the attempt of going for it. But when you decide to play it safe, well, do we really want to shot this kind of money if this is the kind of performance we're going to do?
I mean, in the classic saying, quoting Anonymous, if you don't like it, come stop me. If you don't like it, come beat me. And here's the thing. With all the criticism, all the negative things that's being said about Adesanya, this might be the fight where people are like, it's not Izzy's going to change his way up. No, Izzy's going to do what he's got to do to win. And that's what he does in every single fight. But this fight right here might bring that Kevin Gastelum energy out of Izzy. It's
Robert Whittaker, Paulo Costa energy out of him. Possibly.
It's going to bring that dog out of him where he's like, I might go to war. It's going to have him right there on cage side right before he enters in. And he's going to say to himself, you can't beat me. I'm prepared to die.
Very much so, because guess what? The guy that's coming in there, Pereira. Ha! Alex is bringing it.
Yes, he is.
There is no wait. There is no standing waiting. There is no, you're going to lay kick and jab me to death. No. Pereira is coming forward. Now, granted, he's 6-1 in his UFC career. His only loss was his very first fight, mixed martial arts. 5 knockouts, 3 wins in the UFC, 2 finishes. Yep. Tremendous power. I mean, this dude hits like a tank. He's fought at middleweight, light heavyweight, even cruiserweight in kickboxing. Tremendous left hand. Izzy got knocked out by the left hand. Cold.
You don't do what you did to Sean Strickland unless you are a legit threat. All right. Yeah. Say what you want about Sean Strickland. He was one of the top 3 ranked middleweights.
He was up there.
He was high ranked middleweight, and he was more of a wrestler, but it's still Sean Strickland.
It's still Sean Strickland.
He still beat him in the first round. He made him look silly.
He made him look like he didn't belong in there. And again, he's got a decision win over Izzy in kickboxing. He knocks him out in the second round. Now, granted, both of those fights, Izzy had moments, especially in the knockout one. Izzy had moments where it looked like it was kind of leaning towards him, like, okay, Izzy's coming on, you get caught. That happens.
Yeah.
But the mental aspect that you're taking on somebody that has not only one, but 2 victories over you, not just victories, but a knockout finish of you, one of the most brutal knockouts we've seen in the world of kickboxing. What does that do to your psyche stepping in there? Does that force you to come out of your shell and say, okay, all the tricks that I've learned, everything that I've mastered becoming a mixed martial artist throughout my entire career, now is the time for me to go deep in my tool bag and put it out there on the table? Or, as you said, do I not change my style, play my particular game, take advantage if I see openings, but still play it safe and still look for the victory? Or is this like what you see from certain fighters in the world of mixed martial arts and in boxing? I don't have to win every fight. There are certain fights I have to win. This is one of them. Sugar Ray Leonard. I don't have to win every fight. When I fight Thomas Hitman Hearns, when I fight Marvin Hagler, I gotta win these fights. Floyd Mayweather. Okay, yeah, I won every fight. There's certain fights I have to win. This particular one, the Manny Pacquiao one, the Canelo Alvarez one. This is one of those for Izzy.
The Conor McGregor one. Just saying. Sorry, didn't mean to get off topic. Let's keep going.
Griff, we're not even past the main event yet.
Just had to win.
Cool it!
All right, my bad.
With the luck of the Irish.
Yeah.
But you throw in the fact that he's got to win this.
He has to.
He has to win this. Does he have to win in impressive fashion? Would be nice. But this is something that he gets a chance to right a wrong, write a mark on his resume, take out one of the guys. And look, at this point, we're starting to see other kickboxers get signed in the middleweight division from Glory Kickboxing and around the world, in a way because of what Izzy has done, showing that, hey, these guys can make the transition over into mixed martial arts and become legit threats. And I've cleared everyone else out. You better get some other opponents in here for me to fight.
I mean, it's gotten to that point now with Izzy Adesanya. He's wiped out the entire division. I mean, he's gone up and he tried to go up against Jan Blachowicz. That didn't go out so well. But I mean, it's not like he got dominated.
No.
It's just that Jan is a ginormous Islamic man. He's a big Iceman, and
the Polish strength was just too much for him in the grappling department. But he didn't look overwhelmed when they did strike.
No, and that's the thing is, like, yes, the UFC is signing more kickboxers, and yes, Izzy Adesanya has made it seem like kickboxers do have a place in the UFC, which they do,
of course.
But the thing is, it's not just that Izzy's one of the greatest strikers UFC's ever seen. It's that he is a all-around great MMA fighter. He's been able to defend against wrestlers. He's defended against takedowns. He's survived when he's gone to the ground. He has a well-balanced all-around game, along with a dirty, nasty striking game that nobody seems to be able to overcome.
One guy might be able to overcome it, and he has a dirty striking game in himself with that power. Pereira, Izzy is going to be fantastic.
Yes.
Speaking of fantastic, Griff, in the co-main event, Carla Esparza, the former champion, now 2-time strawweight champion, defending her title against Wayne Zaylee, the former champion, looking to reclaim her spot atop of the mountain. What do you make of this particular matchup?
Oh, it's interesting. It's just both women have such a strong history and connection with one Rose Namajunas. Yeah. They have this history with her, and I can't help but feel like Rose's presence is going to be a little bit felt that night in the octagon when these two women enter. It's going to be felt a little bit because Zhang Weili couldn't beat Rose. Rose became a monster and a dog in both those fights. She'd been a dog before, but she really brought it out of herself. And you saw that after the first win, when her husband/coach is yelling in her face, "You need to scream right now. You're the champion. You're the best." Okay. And then she's sitting there emotional, screaming it. You could tell she truly, truly believed it. And then she comes out in the second in the rematch, and she gets the decision win. And she looked good. Even though it wasn't an early finish, she went the whole 5 rounds. She looked good. And then she goes and she fights Carla Esparza, who beat her back in 2014 when they were both early in their careers. And then Rose just kind of didn't show up. It wasn't the dog Rose. It wasn't Thug Rose that we saw in there. It was Rose who seemed like she wasn't confident, who seemed like she wasn't totally there, totally focused on the task at hand. Okay. And then that's when we see Carla Esparza get the win off her, take her belt, and now she's facing the girl that Rose just finished beating twice to retain the belt. I mean, it's interesting to see how this fight's going to go between these two women. Either way, we're going to have a new or still champion. But I would love to see, even though they fought twice, if somehow Zhang Weili gets the belt, I wouldn't be mad at a third fight with Rose.
Griff, I'm gonna be honest here, and I mean this with all due respect. You said all that about Rose, and I have no idea what the hell you was talking about when it comes to this particular matchup.
Because that's
these
the
two
thing.
are fighting. No. These two are fighting. Rose isn't going to be in this fight. This isn't a triple threat match like in professional wrestling. Carlos Esparza, Wayne J. Lee. Guess what? Rose is the common denominator, right? But at the same time, we've seen fighters fight the same opponents. You fight everyone differently. Carlos Esparza does not fight like Rose Namajunas.
No.
Wayne J. Lee does not fight like Rose Namajunas.
No, she doesn't.
So when you pair these two against each other, and Wayne J. Lee has been training with Henry Cejudo to get better in her grappling, to get better in her. She's already brutally strong. We know that. We know how good she is in striking. But we also have seen over the years Carlos Esparza go from a grappling heavy base fighter. Striking is getting a little bit more out there, getting a little bit better in that particular department. Cardio has always been good. She's also got that dogfight in her, like we saw the second time against Rose, where if need be, it's not going to be pretty, but I'm going to be right in your face, taking you down, stuffing you on the ground, putting you up against the cage. Could she do that against someone like Wayne J. Lee, who is incredibly strong, doesn't necessarily get taken down at will that easily, tremendous balance, and is a very gifted and unique striker. Very good combinations, very tough strike. And again, you cannot underestimate the time she has spent with Henry Cejudo in his wrestling camp. That's an Olympic gold medalist right there. That's Triple C.
I completely agree with you.
Yeah.
I completely agree with you. Both women, this is going to be a great fight. It's going to be a great title fight. That's a reason it's the co-main event.
Yeah.
The reason I bring up Rose is because you can't. I mean, if you really think about it, sit back and think for a second. No matter which woman wins this fight, who's fighting next? Who's getting the next title shot?
It's not going to be Rose.
You don't think it's going to be Rose?
No. She just lost.
She just lost.
And she hasn't fought since. Guess what? You don't get to look. Yeah, no.
No, they're 2-0 now.
If Carlos Esparza wins, I'm 2-0 against Rose. Why do I need to fight her again? And she hasn't beat anyone since then. Since I beat her.
Who would you rather see then?
I have to look at the rest of the division and see where it is. Guess what? At some point in time, and I don't know where she's at in the rankings, I'd love to see Angela Hill get a shot at the title.
I would love that.
And again, I have to look at the rankings just to see, because some fighters have moved around, but there's plenty of good options to choose from, particularly there. It's not just guaranteed that, it's going to be Rose next. Yeah, Rose is the big name and the former champion. But at some point in time, you got to get another victory before you step back in there.
Give her one more fight, and then honestly, guys, if Zhang Weili wins, there's no way in hell Rose isn't cutting back in there with her title shot. There's no way.
Depends how she wins, though. And at the same time, Rose just lost. If Wayne J. Lee does win, a rematch wouldn't be surprising, especially again depending how she loses. If it's a close decision, split decision victory, that's a rematch.
That's fine. They could get the rematch. That gives Rose the time to get a fight or two in, and then she'll be right back. Well,
that's what she should have been doing all this time, but she hasn't been doing it. So we can't just jump right into Rose. We just can't jump right into that.
I guess so. I mean, Rose aside, this fight will be great. I mean, these two strong, grappling, all around fighting women, they are going to put on a show Saturday night, and I cannot wait for it.
I'll tell you what show I'm looking forward to the most, Griff.
Which one?
I'll tell you who's really going to put on the show. The show of shows.
Ooh.
Dustin Poirier from Louisiana taking on Michael Chandler.
Iron Mike. Let's go,
Gotta wear my white pants for this event right here.
Oh, he said
Chandler Poirier. Oh, I said it, and I mean it too. Chandler Poirier. This is one of those dream matchups where you just say, I only thought I could play this on the video game. Up until recently, we didn't even think he played on a video game because Chandler wasn't in the UFC. Yep. But ever since he has come to the biggest promotion, he has delivered time and time again. Win or lose, I am going to be the fight of the night. I am going to be the performance of the night. I am going to be the highlight. You will talk about me in the octagon, whether I'm the one who get my hand raised or I'm the one that submitted or got knocked out. Either way, I am must see. Poirier has shown time and time and time and time and time and time and time again. I must see. I step up in the big moments. I knocked out an Irishman once. I broke his leg the next time. I'm a former interim champion. I'm going to deliver. I took on Max Holloway, beat him. I took on Conor McGregor, beat him. I took on Charles Oliveira, came up short, but it was a very good fight. I beat Conor McGregor. I beat this particular guy. I beat Conor McGregor. So Dustin Poirier is like, hey, I want to shot at the title.
Yeah.
Chandler says, I want to shot at the title. They're about to clash, and this is going to be Megatron versus Optimus Prime.
I will give you credit for your Transformers reference right there. I love me some Transformers, but you didn't have to say Conor McGregor like 8 times. We know.
Well, I just wanted the fans to make sure that they knew that Conor McGregor lost to Dustin Poirier. I just wanted the fans out there to know that he lost to Dustin Poirier, because that is a win on his record. In fact, it's 2 wins.
I'll give you this. You are a historian of the sport. I'll give you that, brother.
Thank you.
All right. Well, moving on to Michael Chandler versus Dustin Poirier. Do you remember the hype that we felt, the excitement we felt when Michael Chandler was scheduled to fight Justin Gaethje?
Oh my God!
Do you remember
the
words being thrown out there? Mega fight, bloodbath, brawl,
war,
battle.
This is it.
This fight should receive that, if not more. It is Dustin Poirier. Dustin Poirier is part of what brought the dirty battle between Dustin Poirier and Justin Gaethje. He's the one who got in there and towards the very last round with Max Holloway, he stood up in the middle of that octagon, and right before it was even time, and he looked at Max and he said, right here in the middle, put your foot in the tire, let's do it. And Max, being Max, he said, let's do it, baby. He is an exciting boxing, great ground game. Dustin Poirier is considered right now possibly the best boxer at lightweight. The best boxer at lightweight. He's got a striking game. He's got it all. He's just well-rounded. But then we look at Michael Chandler. Michael Chandler's career in the UFC is so interesting. It's confusing. It's almost like, yes, he makes claims he wants to fight for the title, and he even had a title shot against Oliveira. He had the shot, but now it's almost like he loses to Justin Gaethje, but he doesn't really get that much criticism because it was such a great battle.
It was a war.
And he didn't get knocked out, though Justin Gaethje did win convincingly. Yeah. But then he goes and he fights. I mean, his first fight in the UFC was against Dan Hooker
and put him down.
Put him to night sleep.
Yeah. Sent him on his way. Said, let me show you how we get down.
Yes. But then he wins against...
He flatlined Tony Ferguson.
Oh, my God. The kick against Tony Ferguson. The knockout Tony Ferguson did on him.
That front kick, it wasn't 9-8. Put him on.
It was scary what he did to Tony Ferguson. But that said, Dan Hooker, Tony Ferguson, both fighters that are kind of towards the end of their careers rather than the beginning.
Fair enough.
And Oliveira, he almost had Oliveira. He was this close to having Oliveira in the first round.
That is all part of Charles Oliveira's plan.
Yes,
to let you get comfortable, get inside the web, and then I grab you.
Yes, but the thing is, like,
and he almost did beat him. He
almost did beat him. And looking at his entire career, just in the UFC, we don't know really where he's going. It's almost like he's not a fighter that the UFC sees as like, oh, well, we got to get him along and see if he's ready for title contention. It's more of this is like our Conor McGregor-ish type fighter. He doesn't matter who he fights. It's going to be a show. He's going to put on a performance.
That's all you need.
That's all you need. And though he probably does want to get eventually to a title shot, which a win on Saturday possibly is
the winner of this, no doubt, is going to take on the winner of Makhachev versus Volkanovski.
Yes.
This is without a doubt. These are two of the best lightweights in the entire world. Well-rounded. Chandler does have the wrestling background, but he got the power, and he loves knocking people out.
He does.
As you pointed out, Poirier with the boxing and the ground game, the cardio, he loves to engage and going after an all-out war. It will be interesting to see how these two play out, because Poirier does not shy away from battles.
Not at all.
Whether it's against Tony Ferguson, Max Holloway, Conor McGregor, Justin Gaethje, Chandler doesn't shy away from them either. So it will be interesting to see, can Chandler, with his sprint forward, try to joust, bam, hit you with a big shot, or Poirier trying to pick you apart, wham, bam, combinations, hunt you down? Which one is going to be able to evade? Can Chandler land a big shot? Can he land a big kick or a big overhand right to catch him? Or will Poirier just be able to nitpick and tag him up and put him down to where he wears him out? And all of a sudden, like I've said before on this show with you, something about that pressure of a fighter constantly coming forward at you, constantly in your face. Does that wear on Michael Chandler? He's shown he's got the cardio, but he's also shown with the muscles and with how hard he hits, he has shown, I can't get caught and I can't get clipped. But either way, a win will elevate these guys to a title shot.
Yes.
I don't think a loss hurts them that much, just like the Justin Gaethje one. If it's a war and it's a good fight and you're losing to another guy who fights like that, why should we punish you so much? It's not like you're taking on somebody no one's ever heard of. No, you're going in there against another guy who's equally as skilled and equally as ranked as you. This should be good where one of you gets rewarded with the title shot. The other one, you know you're going to be in the main or co-main event of your next fight card anyways, unless you're on a 2-title fight card like this. So you might as well just heal up and get ready for your next outing, because this is going to be must-see.
Gonna be bloody, baby.
It is going to be bloody, and make sure you guys come back and check out UFC 281 recap right here on Franchise Sports Media with the main event with
Griff and
Kalani Lua. You guys be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Till next time, fight fans. Peace.